One day, you and everyone you love will die. And beyond a small group of people for an extremely brief period of time, little of what you say or do will ever matter. This is the uncomfortable truth of life. And everything you think or do is but an elaborate avoidance of it. We imagine our own importance. We invent our purpose. We are nothing. Everything is F***ed, a book about hope by Mark Manson. Welcome to this book animation summary presented by me, Matthew, aka Trident Lion. Before jumping into the summary, if you would be so kind as to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you actually see when new videos are uploaded. Hope is what makes us happy, and it's what makes us progress forward. What is the opposite of happiness? Sadness, anger? No. The opposite of happiness is hopelessness. Hopelessness is the root cause of depression, mental illness, and anxiety. The avoidance of hopelessness is one of our consistent missions in life. It's what steers our life in certain directions. Hope is something greater than ourselves. Without hope, we believe we are nothing, irrelevant, not important. We all strive for a sense of importance. We strive to avoid what Mark Manson calls the uncomfortable truth. What is the uncomfortable truth? Do you remember the quote from the beginning of the summary? This book is not nihilistic like it seems. On the surface, it sounds nihilistic, but it is actually a book against nihilism. Your life is not hopeless. Your life is not meaningless, unless you subscribe to a belief that it is. Pain is inevitable. However, hopelessness and suffering is a choice. Can we attain self-control in order to make the choice against hopelessness and suffering states? Every problem of self-control is not a problem of information or discipline or reason, but rather of emotion. Self-control is an emotional problem. Laziness is an emotional problem. Procrastination is an emotional problem. Impulsiveness is an emotional problem. Within your mind, you have two brains, the thinking brain and the feeling brain. We like to think our logical thinking brain is in the driver's seat of our self-control. But actually, our feeling brain is in the driver's seat. All of our actions are done because of a feeling. The feeling brain trumps the thinking brain with decision making, always. Even if something is done because of logic, it is because you felt it to be right. We are constantly making decisions with the heart. Don't fight your feeling brain because it can make it worse. Basically, the way the thinking brain can get through to your feeling brain is by communicating with it using the language that it knows, emotion. If your thinking brain can convince your feeling brain how a certain change will lead to a greater feeling, then the feeling brain will listen. When our feeling brain and thinking brain are not aligned, we feel powerless, and everything around us begins to feel hopeless. We gain better self-control by having our thinking brain and feeling brain align with the same values. Our life is lived as a journey. We are all on our own chariot, pulled by two horses. We all have a gift to help us steer our horses in the direction in life we want. That gift is known as meaning control. Controlling the meaning behind your impulses and feelings is how we can better align our thinking brain and our feeling brain together, working in harmony. Why do people start to experience hopelessness? Oftentimes, hopelessness comes from the feeling like we are not in control over our lives, and ultimately not in control of our own destiny. People in this state feel like a victim to the world and a victim to their own mind. What else do you need to have hope? Faith. Without faith, there is no hope. Hope is fundamental to your psychology. You need it for several reasons. 1, to have something to look forward to. 2, to believe you are in control of your destiny enough to achieve something great. And 3, to find a community to achieve it with you. When we lack one or all of these for too long, we lose hope and spiral into the void of the uncomfortable truth. There are things in life we cannot change. What cannot be changed is pointless to fight against. There is nothing we can do that will change the uncomfortable truth. It is what it is. But what we can do is change how we feel and perceive the uncomfortable truth. Do not hope for a better circumstance. Hope to be strong enough to overcome difficult circumstances. Do not hope for things to be better. Hope that you are becoming better. Hope for the suffering that comes with freedom, for the pain that comes from happiness, for the wisdom that comes from ignorance. I said it earlier in this summary, and I'll say it again because it's that important. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is always a choice. There is always a separation between what we experience and how we interpret that experience. The human mind is incredibly flawed. There is an inner conflict when the thinking brain and feeling brain are not aligned. Our ability to process information is hamstrung by our emotional need to validate ourselves. It is curved inward by our own perceptual biases. Realize that even if all of your problems of today become magically fixed, your mind will still perceive the inevitable ness of tomorrow. So instead of looking for hope, don't hope. Don't despair either. Be something better. Be more compassionate, more resilient, more humble, more disciplined. Who doesn't want more freedom in their life? No one. Who wants freedom mixed with suffering? No one. If you give your feeling brain 100% freedom, with your thinking brain being in the passenger seat, that would be terrible. The conflict would result in suffering. Now, I don't know if suffering can be 100% eliminated from our lives, but I believe it can be reduced. Having harmony with the thinking brain and the feeling brain, I believe will lead to greater self-control. Self-control over our destiny and self-control over our feelings. You don't want to enslave the thinking brain or the feeling brain. You need them to be free and working in harmony. So once your two brains are in harmony, how can you achieve freedom? The only true form of freedom is through self-limitation. It is not the privilege of choosing everything you want in your life, but rather choosing what you will give up in your life. You can't do everything. So what can you do? What do you want to do? What will you do? Ultimately, the most meaningful freedom in your life comes from the commitments for which you have chosen to sacrifice. Everything is a book about hope by Mark Manson. I greatly enjoyed this potent value Mark Manson delivers in both of his books that I've read. The audiobook for this one is only 7 hours long, so it's not a book that goes on longer than it needs to, which I'm extremely grateful for. I left a link to purchase a copy of the book for yourself in the description below. Comment below what your thoughts are on artificial intelligence. The reason, because Mark ends the book talking about how AI can be our biggest threat and why it potentially will make everything in our world f***ed. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you can see when new videos are uploaded. Thank you so much for watching, and until the next video, remember, always be learning, always be creating, and always be inspired.